Yeah, Judge Mueller is here, and Penny Peavler. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
I do like this about the show, that something comes up and it needs to be discussed, that it's possible to do it. So tell us why you're here.
Yeah, so I think it was miscommunication, but we're glad we're here.
Okay.
I love keeping you guys on your toes. You know, the expression when you saw us walking in was great. Like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
I loved it. I might start doing this every month.
Yeah, immediately it's like, what email did I not get?
miss?
I was on vacation Friday, so I'm like, did I miss something?
Yeah. So I think this might be a new thing for me. I'm just going to slowly pop in. Just pop in wherever. Is that okay?
We clearly made it work today.
Yeah,
so.
well, good. Y'all do a great job here. So, obviously, just wanted to we always come in and talk about some things that are going on. We've had a lot of big announcements lately. There's a lot more in the future. When you all sent the email last week or the week before about coming in, I always talk about with our team, what are we going to talk about this month, things like that. First thing came to my mind was all the economic development things we have going on. So I thought it was a great opportunity to bring Penny Peavler. She's the interim economic development. She's doing a phenomenal job. She's meeting with the fiscal court. She's meeting with me weekly. We have a lot of things going on in our community. So I just thought I would bring Penny in, introduce her publicly, and just kind of let her go with it.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you all this morning again. It's been a few months since I've been here, but thanks for having us. So the state of Kentucky and the Commonwealth is really engaged in a very intensive and intentional economic development strategic action plan process. So the state adopted a new economic development blueprint this past year. And so what all the counties are doing now is really living into the mission of what that looks like for our county. And so for us, what we're going to be doing is undertaking a strategic action plan for Frankfort and Franklin County. There'll be a lot of community engagement in that, and I look forward to coming back and talking about that. We'll be hosting roundtables and other kind of public meetings. When you think about economic development in Kentucky, there's really 10 things that the Commonwealth is focusing on, but the big four are winning the automotive future. And of course, Franklin County, they're up on the screen here. And of course, Franklin County already is engaged heavily in winning the automotive future, right? We have Topi, we have Monoplast, we have other parts and component manufacturers, both for electric vehicles and internal combustion vehicles. There's about 48,000 parts in an internal combustion car, right? So that's a lot of different component manufacturers. In the electric vehicle, there's about 4,000. Now, some of those parts are the same, but others are different, and so Franklin County's been selling into that for years. That's not new for us. But what would it look like for us to win the automotive future? So that's number one. Number two, advanced manufacturing. Manufacturing doesn't look like the smokestacks of old. Many of the new factories that are coming in, they're robotic, they're heavily technological, skilled labor. Many have alternative energy sources that are powering them. And so that is another thing that Kentucky is really focusing on. The next is natural assets. And that's really where Franklin County comes in. Because as you know, we're in the valley, right? And if you've grown up here like I did, there is a specialness to the geography, that S curve in the river, the two banks, the hilly nature of it. We're not a large landmass flat county, right? So we have to really maximize our natural assets. And number four is tourism, agritourism, what we call place-based tourism and geotourism. So there's about 8 million people a year that travel Scotland simply to go along, visit the distilleries, and do what there is to do in the local towns, right? So that's what we call geotourism, place-based tourism. Well, we have a lot of that here in Kentucky. It's extremely special, and Frankfort has so much to offer in terms of hospitality. We think about Elkhorn Creek and water activities. We think about our 40 distilleries within 15 miles of Frankfort. Frankfort has been known as a place for lodging, for generations, since the old Love Tavern in the 1700s. Well, we have 85 new hotel rooms, which will open in downtown Frankfort by 2025, including the new hotel in the old furniture assembly factory on Broadway, and other kind of 16-room guest houses, the old E.H. Taylor House, turning into the Ashbrook Hotel. So those kinds of things. Plus, we have lots of national platform brands building at our 2 interstates. And we talked a little bit, I know the mayor was here last week and talked about the paddocks, our mixed use development. So when you think about all of those things as a tourism ecosystem, that is another thing that the Commonwealth is focusing on. And going back to what I said about Scotland, since you all are into trivia here, I'll give you a little trivia for everybody. So what are the things that 5 counties in Kentucky have in common with only 3 other places in the world? Now, we make great whiskey here.
Yeah, that
so
would have been
what
my
can
first
you
guess.
think about that's related to that industry?
Related.
So our water. We're here at the
That's-
Frankfort
yeah,
Electric and Water Plant Board. What's special about our water
The
in Frank
limestone,
County?
right?
The
Yeah, the
limestone,
limestone.
number 1.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, not
Okay.
me. I'm not the one.
There's 5 counties in Kentucky where the water is filtered not only through limestone, but also through shale.
Okay.
Right? So that is part of the specialness here. Bourbon is not just a drink. You know, Kentucky is the one true, authentic home of bourbon I believe, for 4 reasons. But first, let's deal with the water. The only place that has both limestone and shale filtered water in the world is Kentucky, Ireland, and Scotland. Where is the best whiskey in the world made? Whiskey of any type?
Hey, those 3.
Those 3, right? So taking that back to that geo and place-based tourism. Now, in economic development, we talk about family wage sustaining jobs, right? High paying jobs. Now, the good thing about tourism in Franklin County is there are high paying jobs in tourism, but there's also a lot of part-time jobs. And what do we have here in Frankfort? We have a ready workforce of people who have made their careers in the political and legislative spectrum, right? They've worked there 30 years at the state, they're retired, they're looking for something to do. That's where this high quality tourism comes in. So we've got the water, we're starting to have all different types of lodging, other amenities. We know from our research that people visit about 2.5 distilleries when they come on the bourbon trail. Now, there's nearly 2 million visits on the Bourbon Trail a year, right? Now, if you think about 2.5 distilleries, then you can do that math and figure out how many unique visitors is that? What's that unique visitor count? So what are they looking for? Back to that place-based tourism, more to do, more to see. Wow, this place is so much more than I thought. So that leads me back to, these 8 million people that are traveling Scotland just to go to the little towns, visit the distilleries, and do the other things that are there. That supports our local retail, our local restaurants, and other kinds of tourism attractions. We have the bourbon boat, which is very unique here. You can cruise along, you can see the Palisades, you can really experience what is the specialness of that water, that limestone and shale filtering. The other 3 things that really make up why Kentucky is the one true authentic home of bourbon is our hospitality. We're known for our hospitality. So we have an amazing culinary scene here in Frankfort. We have all different kinds of ethnic food from around the world. Think about Mommy Manchitas. Think about, Thai Smile and other places like that. Think about Limewater, Serafini. There's so many interesting things to do here and a lot of really interesting cuisine. So hospitality being the second. The other 2 is the graciousness of the competition. The graciousness of the competition among these distillers. You'll see amazing festivals here, like our own Bourbon on the Banks. Just up the road in Louisville, there's events related to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, which is held, of course, in Bardstown, but throughout the state, different exhibits at all the distilleries. You see this mashup of distillers working together. There's programs where we talk about the history of that. And so there's really a lot of that gracious competition that we can do really, really specially. And of course, the 4th is our history. our history and cultural tourism and how that relates back to the bourbon industry is very strong here. You know, George Washington was the largest distiller in the United States during his presidency. Now, there are a lot of reasons why that is, and we want to keep it on the positive today. We won't talk about the free labor source as much that was available to George. But Kentucky, of course, was part of Virginia at that time. Then we split off. Senator Brown, everybody knows that history. But there is a great and rich history here, not only with Buffalo Trace and, of course, with Leestown and Buffalo Trace. And there's a forthcoming book coming out about Leestown that the Capital City Museum will have. It happens to be written by my mother, Patty Peavler, so I'll put that out there. And if you're looking for a short primer on Frankfort's history and Kentucky's history, do visit the Capital City Museum. We renovated that several years ago as a place where tourists can learn a little bit about what makes Frankfort so special. So those are really the 4 areas that Frankfort can lean into for tourism. And as the state releases this plan, what we will do over the next 6 months is release an RFP, get some good folks, good knowledgeable folks to help us, and together we'll write our own strategic action plan and marketing plan for the next few years.
That's a lot.
And
There's going to be a test afterwards. We have a test we're going to pass out here.
Yeah, make sure I get the PowerPoint slides.
I mean, I'm convinced. I'm sold.
Yeah.
So.
I love catching you guys off guard, by the way.
Does this go in addition to sort of the comprehensive plan?
Absolutely.
Okay,
it's a tandem process. So it's a perfect time while we're in the comprehensive planning process. And the fiscal court will be taking up the goals and policies, I believe, Judge, on Wednesday night.
Correct.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to visit distilledtogether.com. Distilledtogether.com. That is the location of the strategic plan as it sits now, the comp plan. There's been over a year of public engagement in that plan, hearings, there's some public meetings, but maximizing our specialness is key. In addition to that, so we'll have an economic development strategic action plan that's unique for us, and then the next step will be to look at our zoning and all our zoning ordinances and do an update, and that'll be another city-county led process. You know, there's a lot of conversation about housing right now, and of course the 3 things that are contributors to economic development. Oh, it's time for a quiz. Does anybody know what the 3 contributors are?
I'm going to say housing.
Ooh,
Housing.
that's
Yeah,
gotta be
housing's
one of
number
them.
1.
Yeah.
Housing's number 1. What else? Transportation
Okay.
and childcare. Housing, transportation, and
Those are
childcare.
huge.
So as it relates to the zoning ordinance update, you know, accessory dwelling units are a big thing right now. Looking at zoning and how can we maximize the density of the housing that we have. You know, my mother's told me that she's not leaving Franklin County. So can she have a granny pod in my backyard? Right. You know, although she's also said she's never leaving Montrose Park. But many people are building accessory dwelling units in their backyards to house older adults, maybe adult children. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but renting an apartment is a whole lot more than it was when I got out of college.
But I will say now, like Lexington has already looked at that zoning. They have the in-law pods and things like that they can put behind people's homes in certain situations.
And so that's just one part of, yes, that's right, accessory dwelling units. So those are some of the types of things that we'll be looking at. Access to childcare is key. You know, with childcare, of course, you're looking for that radius of your pickup zone back and forth. You know, you can't be too far out. So that's another. And then transportation, of course, is a third. I mean, we're building a new transit center. We're going to have better bus service, electric buses. So lots to come in that.
But I will say, currently in Franklin County alone, we have 600 homes being built. Maybe not just homes, townhomes, apartments, things like that. So, you know, because we have the demand here. And by the end of the year, it could be up to 1,000. So I think we just need to be smart. We had that big announcements last week. We've gotten some people say, what about the Sears building? What about the old J.C. Penney?
Right.
Those are all things we're working on, we're looking at. So I think it's a nice mix. I do want everyone to know that we are working on a lot. There's a lot going on and a lot of things that are talked about we're already looking at. There's unfortunately some things we can't talk about. We have some announcements coming up in the next couple months that are going to be fantastic. We just have to let it run its course and keep heading in the pace we're going, the direction.
Yeah, it's like I told the mayor, as long as you announce them here.
Oh, we love to do that. We love to do that.
Yeah, but Penny, you're right. And with housing growing, that even more of a demand for childcare, and I can, from personal experience,
Yes.
it is low here in town.
It is.
I mean, you have to be years ahead of time.
That's not unique to Franklin County.
Right,
You know,
right.
this
No,
is a
right,
nationwide
right.
problem, and housing is a nationwide
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
You know, and so to the judge's point, I mean, 600 homes, 600 permits in Franklin County. I mean, that's more than I can remember in the last 30 years. Way more.
It averages less than 100 per year in years past, but the demand's there.
So this is big. The demand's there for single family, affordable single family, multifamily, all of it, housing of all types. You know, we launched a housing study and completed that last year. I believe we came and I believe Eric Cockley came and talked about that. Mayor and judge, that was a joint city-county effort. So that really showed us that we have a need for all types of housing. And so it's exciting.
But we're also meeting, I actually have an appointment today with a developer for affordable housing.
Great.
You know, and affordable housing, to everyone watching out there, it means something different to everybody. You know, affordable housing to Zach might be different than me. So I do want people to realize that all these are on our horizon. We're trying to get them all taken care of. So it's working. It's just a slow process.
I think this just falls right in line with everything we've heard over the past couple of years of everything you all have been working on, and I'm genuinely impressed by the amount of thought that's gone into it. And I think a great plan is in place from for city and county, and so it's exciting times. And you guys will come back to keep us in the loop.
We will. And, the thing about plans that's so important is plans are living, breathing documents. They don't live on a shelf.
Right.
There's the old adage, decide what you want, write it down, and work on it every single day. And that's what we try to do in the city and the county. And this new economic development strategic action plan and marketing plan is something that we're all in together, and we have to work on it every single day. And that's what we're trying to do. It's iterative, right? You just do it, then you do it over again, you do it over again. And that's really where we are with all of these initiatives. And so it's an exciting time in our community. And I'm so pleased to be home and be a part of it and work with this great team. It's a real privilege.
So if anybody wants more info,
they can visit right now for the strategic plan. It will be on kycapitaldevelopment.com. You won't see the RFP out there just yet, but I do expect the board to take that up at the July meeting. I'm writing the RFP now, and we've been talking with folks and getting input. And that really is the follow-on to that comprehensive plan. Last thing I'll tell you is that there's also a regional plan. There are 9 counties in the region. We're in the Bluegrass region, that greater Lexington region. But we also have a lot of congruity with Anderson County and Owen County, who are in a different region. So Woodford. So we're part of a regional effort, and every week, and this has been going on for years. This is not new. The region has been meeting every other week for several years. The economic developers from all around get together, and they work on workforce and childcare and housing and all these things that make commercial and industrial development possible, as well as workforce. So the region will be taking that on, and I'll come back and talk with you about the regional plan. There's a new regional website being built now, and a talent attraction website. So stay tuned.
Great. Appreciate you all coming in to tell us about all this.
Thank you.
So there's a potential I might just swing by, tomorrow or something,
You can be here
liking
tomorrow.
this.
We'll definitely be here. We'll let you in tomorrow since we're
Okay.
only
Just
allowed
turn on
Monday,
the
Wednesday,
camera.
Friday.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll let
maybe
you in.
Wednesday then. I'll save it.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And thank you for all you do.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's amazing to have this vehicle. I want to give a big praise for the Frankfort Electric and Water Plant Board. Last year, we worked together on a video series about Frankfort Pride, Frankfort and Franklin County Pride, and just pride in our community, right? Featuring restaurants and commercial businesses. Charlie Boo's daughter was on there, and Carlos from Serafini. And so we look forward to having that all on a website, and thank you for rolling it out. I think everybody's seen those commercials live on the air. It's very special in Frankfort and Franklin County, and we need to continue to remind ourselves ourselves of how unique and special it is here. So thank you for helping us tell that
Absolutely.
story.
And we're just cogs in the wheel, but the board and the FEB customers, make this possible, and we're really happy that we're able to bring it to everybody and share your all's message with everybody. And it's important to do. So we appreciate you being here.
And I think we all need to celebrate everyone else's wins.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
thing that I've
Yeah.
said for years.
Yeah.
I mean, your win is our win, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think if we keep doing that as a community, we'll get better and
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Nothing but good things, and really excited about, like you said, all the announcements coming and everything we've heard so far. So, thank you guys for being here.